Hi, folks. This is your host Mandeep. It's Wednesday, July 22nd, and once again, I'm recording this during live hours just to give you a perspective on the state of the market today and what are some of the opportunities that are available or were available to trade. So, the first thing that you want to look at is the market internals, and the market internals are neutral today. So for NYSE is negative 1 to 1, and then on the Nasdaq it's positive 1 to 1. So this essentially is telling you the market is neutral, right? Because if you look at the tick distribution is very close to zero. So in essence, you have no edge one way or another. But you can clearly find a few stocks to trade, and one of the things that caught my eye was Ollie's Bargain Outlet, and the reason for that really was what I've been harping about quite a bit lately is the relative volume. And so this is trading at 3.3x relative volume, and it's also at 127% of its total daily volume. On top of that, it broke the 60-minute ORB range, and we also had a buy signal, which is the UTS buy signal. So it made perfect sense to at least take a shot at this trade. So currently in this trade, I also mentioned this trade in the Discord room. Furthermore, let's take a look at LMT. And one way to sort is by looking at the dynamic orb and looking at the relative volume in the S&P 100. So this will give you all the major stocks if they're moving. So in this case, LMT is trading 1.2x of its relative volume, so 20% above its normal volume, which is also a good sign. So another trade I ended up took some profits on it, and mentioned this in the Discord room as well. So I said I took LMT long. I've already been long NVAX, and that's from yesterday, and took Ollie's as well on the long side. So we'll see how these pan out. But again, we want to be focused on the market internals, right? And if you look at it here, you can also see that the amount of volume flowing in issues that are advancing is 46%, and volume flowing in issues that are declining is 53%. So there's a little bit of an edge on the downside. On the Nasdaq big market, right? The entire Nasdaq market, it's completely even. So there's no real edge. Let's take a look at QQs, which is the Nasdaq 100 for me, and let's take a look at what the advanced decline line looks like, right? So now in the morning, this was 55. So this had a real edge. 70 issues were advancing and 30 were declining. But one of the things that I noticed in the morning is that the cumulative tick was negative, right? So the cumulative tick wasn't really supporting the rise in the Qs. And for those of you who don't know what the ticks mean, in essence, just look at the stock, and if the value of this stock when the sale occurs, and if the stock, let's say, moves up 1 cent, then the tick is positive, right? And then you take Apple, it's moved up another, 1 cent, the tick is positive. What they end up doing is they accumulate these ticks, right? So all the ticks that are positive accumulated, and all the ticks that are negative accumulated, and this is actually plotting a histogram of that. So even though as you can see right here, right, at this point in time, there were 50 issues advancing, which is pretty significant. So it was almost like 70-30 ratio. And the volume was also actually fairly high, right? The volume flowing in issues that were advancing was also high, but the tick distribution wasn't supporting it. And eventually, what happened? The market did end up, pulling back quite a bit. But at this point in time, this is one of the long-term trend lines that I've shown you in the past, but I'll show it to you again. So this is the long-term trend line, excuse me, which we took out, but it kind of has been hugging the trend line. As you can see today, it touched the trend line, and now it's moving back up. So we'll see how the rest of the day pans out, but hopefully gives you a little idea that the choices today were limited, and you just need to be able to pick that one or two stocks that is going to make you money. So this OLLI is making a little bit of money because once the buy was triggered, we are in the trade. A worst case situation, you close the trade at even. So once you're in a trade which is a winning trade, you can always set a stop loss at even.